Matthew Lesh joins us from the Adam Smith Institute, as does Baroness Margaret Prosser, Labour peer and former president of the TUC. Matthew, do you think the fundamental thing that no one's really saying here is that the economy is just going to fall down and die unless we sort this out?
Well, look, at some point people do have to go back to work. Otherwise, there's not going to be any jobs left. We know that if this lockdown goes on for another couple of months, we can expect about 1 million businesses to shut down. That means millions of fewer jobs. I think the Prime Minister is fundamentally right. This isn't an easy process. This isn't straightforward. It's not as succinct and clear as stay at home. But we do have to start this difficult process of getting back to work safely. And I think we can have faith in individuals and have faith in businesses to come up with innovative new processes to keep everyone safe while we do get back to work.
Margaret Prosser, do you feel that is in hand?
I don't think so, Jeremy. After the performance on Sunday evening and subsequent backtracking and changing things, I don't, it doesn't give you confidence that anything is in hand.
Well, because he announced that you should go back to work, and then it seemed to occur to them that the businesses didn't have enough notice. Is that right?
Business didn't have enough notice. The idea that go back to work, don't use public transport, walk or take a bicycle. How many people can do that? That's just plain daft. And then the whole business of go back to work tomorrow. Oh, no, whoops, Daisy, Monday morning comes. No, we're not going back till Wednesday. And employers, the vast majority of employers want safe workplaces. They're not nasty, evil Dickensian characters, but they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They haven't, the guidance is not even available as yet.
Do you think, Matthew, is it your point of view that employees should just go in and tough it out? Is that what you think?
Look, no, of course not.
Matthew.
I think, of course not. It's important that people are safe at work. There's lots of options available. There is the guidance that's been developed with the unions and with business groups about varied shift patterns, about avoiding overcrowding at work. It's important to acknowledge the majority of people actually do drive to work as it is across the country. So it's not actually that much of an issue, particularly outside of London. On top of that, I think the guidance has been or is shortly being released. But at the same time, it's not the government's role to tell everyone precisely how to operate their workplaces. The government should, of course, provide the guidance, but ultimately we have to have faith in the innovative ability of individuals in our businesses to work out how to operate in their locally appropriate circumstance. I don't think we need a rule book from above to begin with, and I think it's just condescending to say otherwise.
Margaret?
Oh, honestly, that does make me really cross, because it's not about being condescending. It's about providing basic guidelines and basic rules. You've said that in one sentence, Matthew, but actually that's not what the government is doing. They're partway through a discussion with the TUC about how to handle all of this. And then all of a sudden there's an announcement and the TUC are not included in a discussion about that. I mean, the whole thing, it just gives you the impression that 1 minute Boris had a thought and then, let's talk about this thought that I've had. There's nothing coherent about it. And of course we need people to go back to work. And the vast majority of people want to go back to work. Work is a social thing as well as an employment and salary affair. So the whole idea, I don't have any faith in what Boris Johnson is saying at the moment, because I don't think he has faith in what he's saying himself.
Interestingly, the Trump administration, Margaret, has been toying with the idea of stopping employees taking legal action against their bosses if there is a health and safety breach in respect of COVID-19. So saying, because employers are very nervous now. So do you think that would be one route to go down?
I absolutely do not. You can't have government introducing legislation to bar people from acting upon the legislation that's already there. Workers have a right to a safe and healthy workplace. That's already the right of an employee and the right of any worker. So the idea that you say, let's wipe that out, then we forget about all of that.
But you can't guarantee that somebody won't catch a cold or catch flu at work.
No,
Flu can be fatal.
Of course not, but this is a serious, nasty pandemic. Thousands of people have died, and the idea that you expect people, or anybody expects people, to go into a workplace and take a chance, no thank you.
Matthew, in that case, you've got to allow, Matthew, people to say to the boss, I'm not coming in.
Oh, I think people can always opt out of going to work. No one's necessarily. Well, I mean,
news to me.
By losing their job.
You can often sacrifice your income in the process. Look, I don't think this is as much of an issue as it's currently being made out to be. And I think there's certain people who are trying to make political expediency who have always been opposed to this government, including the unions, including the Labor Party, are seeing an opportunity here to exploit. The reality is everyone's interests are aligned here. The businesses want to keep their employees safe. They are introducing things we've already seen in supermarkets. We've got limits on the amount of people who can go in. We've got social distancing. We've got plastic screens. Every business is going to do this slightly differently based upon their local operations. I do worry about this tendency to say we're just not ready yet. We're just not ready yet. Well, the reality is no business is being forced to open up tomorrow or next week or the week after. But what they're saying is we're encouraging. The government is saying is encouraging them to do so when they have able to do so safely.
And in fairness, Margaret, the most dangerous workplaces are open already. Obviously, at the heart of that, the NHS, but supermarkets, Matthew mentioned, buses, public transport, train drivers, etc. A lot of care workers, security guards. We know now
that's absolutely true.
The dangerous ones are open already.
Many thousands of those people have died in those workplaces, and I'm not for one moment saying that employers don't want to reopen. Of course they do. They want their businesses to keep going. The vast majority of people want to go back to work. And this is not about whether or not I like or don't like a Conservative government. I've always, it's plain as pie that I'm not a Boris supporter. But if he were saying things that were believable and thought through and sensible, I would be the first to support them. I've isolated, like Billio, all the people I know, my family, my friends, everybody is obeying the rules. And I'm very happy to do that. But I'm not happy to support a statement that is a mumbo-jumbo that makes mistakes, that suggests taking action and then 5 minutes later changes its mind about taking action. And I'm not prepared to say that that's a statement that's worth supporting, because it isn't.
Thank you very much, Baroness Margaret Prosser, Labour peer, former president of the TUC, and Matthew Lesh from the Adams